Every morning, the system goes through probably 40, 50 million data series in about 2 hours, which there's probably not any number of analysts that you could employ that could do that quickly.
Welcome to AI Factor, coming to you from the NASDAQ market site. Today, we're sitting down with Szilagyi, Reflexivity CEO, to talk about how AI is changing financial market research. Thanks for being here, Jan.
Thank you for having me.
You just announced a $30 million fundraising round backed by some heavyweights, including Stanley Druckenmiller and Greg Coffey, and you changed your name from Toggle AI to Reflexivity. Tell me a little bit more about this new phase in your company.
Our prior name, Toggle AI, was something that didn't as closely align to the mission of really bringing the AI tools to portfolio managers, analysts, and so on, and Reflexivity, which really means the act of challenging your beliefs, assumptions, and so on, seemed much closely to align to what we're actually doing. So that was the reason for the change. And like any rebrand, it creates some initial publicity, and the reception has been really, really good.
So tell me a little bit more about your work and how AI influences the things you do.
A lot of us on the team actually came from the industry. We were portfolio managers, analysts, and so on. And the frustration they consistently felt is that as portfolio managers, you really try to rely on actual hard data to make decisions. And there is a lot of data available, but the infrastructure we felt we had to harness this was very outdated in our view. And so what Reflexivity platform is addressing is this bringing together a variety of different data sets and then enabling through large language models and so on, a very easy way to connect the dots, answer questions, anything that could be an actionable insight for your portfolio that you as a portfolio manager always want to be aware of. So hopefully we're really helping and giving them some superpowers in this work with the data.
Using pretty sophisticated technology, you analyze billions of data points to generate insights into investments.
That's right.
How long would it take an individual advisor or a team of advisors to do the same work that you do with AI?
Yeah, I mean, a frighteningly long time. I think, in some cases, actually, there's not even a point in discussing the timeline because it would take too long. Just as an example, every morning the system goes through probably 40, 50 million data series in about 2 hours, which there's probably not any number of analysts that you could employ that could do that quickly or would even want to do it consistently on a daily basis because some of that work is repetitive. So I think we are ultimately helping and making analysts better by relieving them of responsibility for things that they don't really enjoy doing and having them focus much more on thinking about what could happen, post the election, where's the economy going to go, what are the opportunities going to be, and so on. And a platform like Reflexivity is simply there to offer these bright minds at a variety of different hedge funds a way to then quickly try to connect the dots, go from the big idea to one or two securities and stocks that they actually want to invest in.
Do you see this shift resulting in people losing their jobs or just changing the nature of their roles?
Although the dream would be that we get to a point where AI can be an autonomous analyst that can be there independent from all of the others, the reality is that on the way to that goal, what we're really doing is handing all of the human analysts these superpowers that I think make them more effective, more efficient, and also much more productive in the sense that they can spend time on things where computers actually aren't necessarily as good as humans.
Right. And so as a part of this shift, do you see analysts also maybe beefing up their skills in other areas or having to become more AI experts as a way to keep up with this development?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think, a big part of what we have built is basically a platform that relieves somebody of the responsibility to have to learn how to code, for example. So if you are an analyst and you're thinking, I would really like to answer this question through some kind of data manipulation and analysis, are you really going to spend and take part of your workday away in order to learn first how to code? If you don't have to do this, and if you can instead focus on how to ask better questions, maybe you can increase your stock universe coverage and so on. There are a lot of things that I think you can use that time and allocate it to improve not only your own job satisfaction, but also probably productivity.
And so from a manager perspective, what do you think that they're going to be looking for from their employees as this AI revolution continues to take place?
The reliance on data, I think, should rise. I think that the bar in order to go to the data to answer certain questions is hopefully going to come down dramatically. And so I think both the accuracy and the lesser reliance on heuristics or rules of thumb, things that we use when we don't really think we have the time to go to the data, I think that's going to decrease, which hopefully results in greater accuracy, better forecasting abilities, and so on.
Tell me a little bit about how Toggle Terminal is helping investors.
Our clients, as I mentioned earlier, are primarily hedge funds. As they see market dislocations or geopolitical events or elections, they're always curious to know, what should I expect the reaction from either my portfolio or certain assets going to be? We help them by bringing together the data that can help answer that question, right? So we can say like, oh, well, we have an understanding of how this particular security behaved in prior elections that might have in some way been similar to this one. Or we can help them ask questions that they might have forgotten about or not thought of, for example. So where are some opportunities that have now arisen because of what is currently happening in the market? And that could be, a really, really large sell-off in the S&P 500. It could be a geopolitical event. It could be some kind of a government action, or it could be simply that, you're seeing analysts turning really, really bearish on a specific security, and you're thinking, has the market gone overboard? Is this actually instead the opportunity to buy?
But what happens on the flip side if it makes a mistake? What are some of the concerns around this reliability question?
In finance, you cannot afford to have a tool that would hallucinate. And so the way we preclude that, there are any number of ways we can do it, but the primary one is that we really restrain where the system is able to go for the data that it uses to generate answers. Primarily, it's a closed system where what you're really doing is relying on a large language model to interpret between you and a very deterministic algorithm that ultimately should give you the same answer every time.
Where do you see client trust being right now of AI? Are they embracing AI? Are they excited about it? Are they worried about it?
I think there's definitely still a lot of excitement around it, no doubt. There's also maybe a little bit of frustration that it hasn't necessarily been integrated more deeply or more effectively into the workflows. We're seeing a lot of clients who will tell us, well, by this point, we already thought that we would have a fully conversant agent that we could effectively get to do some analysis and so on. The reality, I think, is a lot more nuanced. I think that we've seen progress in things like document search, but I think we've seen a lot less in the area where we specialize, which is actually deep calculation, computation, and kind of data analysis.
How long do you think it'll take to get where maybe some of these CEOs and other leaders would want it to be?
Now, expectations have certainly been tempered a little bit because we're at the point where there is still this anticipation, but I think also more realistic expectations as to how fast this can go. We have a version of what we're referring to as the reasoning agent, very likely available probably before year end. Things are moving, but it's in fits and starts.
Thanks for watching. I'm Rocio Fabro for Quartz. Stick with QZ.com for more.